Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Big show today. Big show, yes. Lots of stuff to talk about. The RNC is going on right now as we speak. Well, maybe not right now, because those Republicans in Milwaukee, I don't know if, are they even up right now? I don't know. Those Republicans, they probably are. They're Republicans, okay? They're not lazy. The DNC probably would start at I don't know, around 11 o'clock when Joe Biden finally drags his butt out of bed. But the RNC for sure, I haven't looked at the schedule, but the RNC for sure is starting early. And today I am actually starting a little bit later than usual. So that's nice. But lots of stuff going on at the RNC and a lot of other things happening. Donald Trump's son, Eric, was the one who pushed Trump over the delegate threshold at the RNC to officially make Trump the nominee for the Republican Party. Yes, guys, Donald Trump is officially the nominee for the Republican Party. Official as of yesterday, yes. But Donald Trump arrived at the RNC with a bandage over his ear, and he received a hero's welcome. Yes, he received a hero's welcome. He was walking into the stadium, the RNC stadium, that was just packed full. I mean, everyone's there to see Trump. And as he walks in, I mean, it was a beautiful sight, guys. I mean, what a hero. I mean, if he couldn't get any more iconic, Saturday happened, of course. Everyone knows about that. He walks into the RNC, bandage over his ear, to chants of fight, fight, fight. The crowd, fight, fight, fight. It was a beautiful scene. Also, there was something a little bit different. Just a little different about his security detail this time. So we'll see if we can figure out just what that is. There is some speculation over what might happen to J.D. Vance's Senate seat now that it will be vacated to allow him to run as Trump's vice president. And there is one pretty new but popular Republican who has expressed interest in taking the seat if this very situation were to happen. So if J.D. Vance were to become Trump's running mate, this guy said, you know, I'd be interested in taking over the seat. So I bet you can't guess who that is. I bet you can't guess. Big secret. I'll tell you here in a bit, okay? This is a new one that I just added to the show right before going live. This is pretty cool. There is a leaked video of a conversation that RFK Jr. had with Donald Trump where Trump is talking about the assassination attempt. And RFK Jr. says that he is mortified that it was leaked, and he blames it on an in-house videographer. But we're going to listen to it anyways. We're going to listen to it, even though it's a private conversation. It's already leaked. I'm sorry. My curiosity has got the best of me. I'm going to listen to it anyways. And I actually have already listened to it, by the way. And let me tell you, he's exactly the same in private as he is in public. Donald Trump, that is. Yes. Sounds exactly the same. No different. Trump is Trump in private and public. Doesn't matter where. Trump is Trump. We finally know how much Elon Musk, our favorite billionaire, is donating to Trump's campaign. And it is a lot of money. A lot of money. And it's also every month, okay? It's like a monthly bill. I thought my Verizon phone bill was a lot of money, but Musk's monthly plan, his monthly payment, installments to Trump, has probably made me feel poorer than I ever have in my entire life. Don Jr. got in a tussle with a MSDNC reporter at the RNC and calls him names, but it was well-deserved. And he responded afterwards about the incident on The Benny Show. A video of a man walking around what looks to be somewhere in California asking people what they think about Trump's assassination attempt is going viral because they believed it was staged. They all believed it was staged. And that really begs the question, are Democrats the crazy conspiracy theorists now? I used to wear that label as a badge of honor. That was me. But there are things that are even too far for me to consider. And finally, a new video of Trump's failed assassin, Thomas Crooks, has surfaced, where you can see him crawling up the roof several minutes before the incident happened. This is a new one that I haven't seen before or hadn't seen before. People are yelling for the police, pointing them out, but they didn't do anything. I wonder what that was all about. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Before we get into the show, though, could you please smash that like button? That really helps me out a lot. But the first one we have for today, guys, Donald Trump, officially the Republican nominee for President of the United States of America. Yes, guys.
125 delegates.
And this was Eric Trump who pushed Trump over the delegate threshold.
Everybody in this great city. On behalf of our entire family, and on behalf of the 125 delegates in the unbelievable state of Florida, we hereby nominate every single one of them for the greatest president that's ever lived, and that's Donald J. Trump, hereby declaring him the Republican nominee for President of the United States of America.
They must have timed that just perfectly to where it would be Florida that pushes him over the threshold. Very cool moment. Eric Trump, his son.
Of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Florida, 125 votes, President Trump.
Well-deserved, long, hard-fought battle. I mean, more hard-fought than most presidential candidates. Yes, guys. You know why? Because only 2 days ago, Donald Trump was shot in an attempted assassination. And this is what Trump looked like arriving at the RNC. I cannot play the sound on this video, but this is Donald Trump. I mean, absolute hero. A hero's welcome. Arriving, he's got a bandage over his ear. I mean, is absolutely epic. Big old bandage over his ear. And, you know, I don't blame him. I would be playing that up, too. I'd be slapping it in the Democrat's face as much as possible. Like, listen, see, I've got a bandage on my ear. You see this? You see this, Democrats? This is leftist ideology right here. And, yes, pumps his fist to the crowd. I mean, the crowd went absolutely nuts whenever Trump walked in, yelling, fight, fight, fight. We love Trump. We love Trump. And here in a second, I'll show you a video where he looks like he gets almost emotional when the crowd is chanting. A little bit later on, another video angle. But we were talking about Donald Trump's security detail, because remember, there was something kind of off about the security detail or the Secret Service that Trump had at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. They didn't seem really to be in tip-top shape. And not only that, you know, if I were the president of the United States or someone running for president, I don't think it's wrong for me to say I would prefer it. I would prefer it if it were men that were guarding me, that were looking out for me personally. That's what I would prefer. If my life is on the line personally, I don't think it's a sexist thing to say, like, hey, listen, I would prefer it if I had a bunch of, like, you know, bad A guys looking after me, making sure that there's no crazy assailants. I don't know if you guys saw that picture of the female Secret Service agent. Whenever the shooting started, she was hiding. she like ducked, and all the guys jumped on Trump. It was crazy. So let's see if we can notice anything different about Trump's security detail at the RNC. I gotta mute this once again, guys, because there was all sorts of copyrighted music all over this rally. I streamed it yesterday, And I had to delete the video right after. But look at his security detail. It doesn't, they don't look like guys that you want to mess with, right? And not only are they all guys, but there are a lot of them. There are a lot of people in his security detail. Let's see. One, I'm assuming these are all security, because they're just surrounding him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 10 or 11 people in his security detail. Now, I don't know if these are Secret Service agents or if they are private security. Probably Secret Service. I don't know. But I feel like just kind of looking at what happened at that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, I'd be very, very dubious about Secret Service. That's just me. I mean, that whole situation, and I'm going to kind of, there's even more coming out about this that just makes you scratch your head and like, it's just really, really fishy. So I want to be surprised if Trump or somebody got Trump some different security detail. But I don't know. It might be the Secret Service. Who knows? I haven't really looked into that. But when Trump arrived, he sat next to his vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, Byron Donalds, and guess who? Tucker Carlson. Yes, look, all the way on the left. But to his right is J.D. Vance. Or to Trump's left, is J.D. Vance. Directly to his right is Byron Donalds. And directly to Byron Donalds' right is Tucker Carlson. So that's where Donald Trump sat. So very good to see. It looks like Tucker Carlson has a direct line to the president. That's good to see, because Tucker Carlson, he's probably the most prominent conservative figure that expresses deep concern about where we're at in America right now. And he's one of these people that I never really, when he left mainstream media, I didn't trust him at first. I was like, he was in mainstream media. You know, when you go in mainstream media, that gets into your blood. He's not trustworthy. I like some of the stuff he says, but at the same time, I was like, it seems a little bit fishy. But just watching him and observing him over the past couple years, I really have nothing but good to say about the guy. He's listening to some of his interviews, some of his talks. He does seem to have a deep concern for the United States, and he doesn't seem to be captured by any institution, which is very refreshing. But Donald Trump, I thought this was a very inspiring video right here. This was when the crowd was chanting, "Fight, fight, fight." Or no. They weren't chanting that. They were chanting, I believe, USA, USA. And Trump, he starts chanting along with the crowd. And then he kind of gets a look on his face where he seems to get emotional for a split second. Watch. Did you guys notice that? He kind of like, he's chanting with the crowd. This is not just Trump, in front of the crowd and they're chanting for. He is in the crowd here, chanting with them. I thought that was a cool moment right there. But Trump showed up a little bit later after the second session happened. I believe it was around, around 8:30 or 9, something like that. I forget. But he stayed for a few of the speeches at the RNC. After the second or right before the second session ended, there was a priest that gave a benediction after the second night of the RNC. And this priest, this was really cool, gave a Trump impression. And Trump, Look on his face. He loves it. He absolutely loves this impression that this priest gave. And let me tell you, it's actually really good. The priest gave a fantastic impression of Donald Trump. Watch.
And if I may, before the benediction, give you this promise. You're going to be so blessed. You're going to be tired of being blessed. I guarantee it. Believe me. And if I may.
So that was right before the second session ended. Okay, last video on Trump guys here. I thought this was a pretty neat one. So this was at Mar-a-Lago. I found this video somehow. I forgot even how I found it. But this was at Mar-a-Lago after the shooting happened. So it must have been Sunday. I'm guessing this is probably Sunday or something like that. But Trump is at Mar-a-Lago after his Butler, Pennsylvania rally, and some kids ask him to take a picture, and he cracks a joke. Listen to this. It's pretty crazy.
Can I get a selfie? Can we get a photo?
Let's go fast. Go.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, the birthday girl? Ellie goes first. The birthday girl.
There's no rifles in this group.
There's no rifles in this group, right? What a guy, man. What a guy.
Can I get next?
Come on.
We did it on you.
Oh, young, beautiful people. Except for those.
So Trump, absolutely iconic. He has reached iconic status, and it's so good to see. Vivek Ramaswamy, someone that a lot of people thought could have a chance to be Trump's VP. My personal favorite for Trump's VP. I knew it probably wouldn't happen, but me personally, I like the guy a lot. I think he's sharp, he's smart, and well-spoken. But this was Vivek Ramaswamy reacting to Trump choosing J.D. Vance as VP at the RNC Watch.
Well, I was just informed that while we were sitting here, Donald Trump has picked Senator J.D. Vance.
You kidding me? Right here? Okay.
Vice President. right now, while we are
Is that right? There it is. I see it. Well, I'm glad to see it. I actually messaged JD earlier today offering him. It sounded like the winds were pointing in that direction.
Yes.
And I had offered him my preliminary congratulations, and I think he will be an outstanding vice president, actually. I think he's not going to be a good vice president, he'll be an outstanding vice president. I think President Trump and our country will be lucky to have him. I will certainly do everything in my power to make sure the Trump-Vance ticket is successful. I want to think about this, but I'm inclined to say this could be the single most formidable political ticket in my lifetime. And I want to see them succeed at a scale that not only makes the Republican Party thrive, but makes the country thrive. And, I think we need more people like JD in American politics. So I'm very happy for him and excited.
Hey, man. So a articulate response as usual, but a lot of people are wondering, and this is actually a reason why a lot of people thought JD wouldn't be chosen for Trump's VP. Because it would mean that he would have to vacate his Senate seat. So what's going to happen to J.D. Vance's Senate seat? What's going to happen to that? A lot of people are asking questions. So J.D. Vance will be vacating his Ohio Senate seat, of course, to run as Trump's VP. So this means that the Governor Mike DeWine, would appoint a replacement until a special election happens in November. But there is a strong possibility that Vivek Ramaswamy could take his place because he has said in the past that he would strongly consider the position. This is an article by the Columbus Dispatch talking about this, about J.D. Vance becoming VP. It says Ohio will have an open Senate seat in 2025 if J.D. Vance becomes VP. Who could DeWine appoint? Governor Mike DeWine says he thought about the Senate appointment, but wouldn't indicate who he's considering for the job. And I think all of us know who he should consider for the job. But that is if Vivek Ramaswamy is still up to the task. But let's take a look at this. The nomination of J.D. Vance as Donald Trump's running mate on Monday raised immediate questions about the future of his Ohio Senate seat if they win in November. The former president picked Vance after weeks of speculation about who would join the ticket, and he seeks his return to the White House in November. The Hillbilly Elegy author was first elected to the U.S. Senate in 2022. But let's scroll down here to where it talks about Vivek Ramaswamy, because we don't need a whole background story. We know a little bit about J.D. Vance. One contender popped up almost immediately after Monday's announcement. Entrepreneur and former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, the Columbus area resident and Cincinnati native, is an avid Trump supporter despite challenging him during the primary. And some see him as a logical appointment who would further the administration's agenda. Ramaswamy said he would strongly consider the job if asked. So if put in this position where J.D. Vance were chosen as Donald Trump's running mate, he says he would strongly consider the position. And this is a quote by him. He said, I'd want to have a conversation with President Trump about how I could maximize my impact on this country and make sure that second term is as successful as it can be, he said. The field of possibilities beyond Ramaswamy is vast. Among them could be Secretary of State Frank LaRose or State Senator Matt Dolan, Republican of Chagrin Falls, who lost this year's Senate primary to Republican businessman Bernie Moreno. Dolan's prospects are less certain. He was DeWine's pick for the March primary, but Trump has repeatedly criticized him in the past. So, Vivek Ramaswamy, what do you guys think? Do you think Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be the pick for this Senate position? I think it would be a fantastic pick. I really do. But then again, I really want Vivek to have a position in Trump's administration, a much closer position. So maybe pick someone else for the Senate in Ohio and give Vivek something in his administration, because that guy, he's just so good. He's so talented. He's so articulate. You got to use that for something in Trump's administration. I think he would be great as press secretary. I mean, that would never, ever happen. But he would do such a fantastic job dismantling the press every day as press secretary. That would be amazing to see. But of course, I mean, we've already talked about it, but J.D. Vance is Donald Trump's vice presidential nominee, that is. And his team has already put Vance's name on the campaign jet. Yes, it's not just Trump anymore. It's Trump Vance, make America great again. Yes, so the jet is already decked out with decals and swag, Trump Vance 2024. And we have an amazing story by J.D. Vance, who talks about the moment that Donald Trump offered him the position as his vice president. Listen.
You know, I just tried to enjoy the ride. What an honor to be considered. If it had been Senator Rubio, obviously Marco's a good guy. He's a good friend. So I try to just have a good attitude about it. You know, my family's very excited, obviously asking a lot of questions. I will say, Sean, I hope I'm not betraying too many confidences here, but when the president called me today to actually formally offer me to become, the vice presidential nominee, which just sounds crazy, my 7-year-old son was sort of making noise in the background. I'm getting so embarrassed. It's like, oh my God, Donald Trump's asking me to be his vice president.
So the phone rings, he calls you, and you're like, okay, this is the call, or maybe not the call.
Or maybe it's a bad call, right? It's the call. Who knows whether it's good or bad. But then he actually has me put my 7-year-old son on the phone. If you think about this, everything that's happened, the guy just got shot at a couple of days ago, and he takes the time to talk to my 7-year-old. It's a moment I'll never forget.
Yeah, what a moment. So Donald Trump calls J.D. Vance to offer him the vice presidential nomination. And his son is making noise in the background. And Trump asked to speak to his son. I mean, that's just classic Trump right there. That's so cool. Such a cool moment. Kind of a human moment from Donald Trump. And you see a lot of those, which is interesting because the other side, they seem so fake. It's very rare that you catch them in a human moment unless it's a moment of anger or something like that, a negative moment. So a lot of people were dubious of J.D. Vance because of his past remarks about Donald Trump, myself included. I'm still not sure about the guy, J.D. Vance. He has connections to Peter Thiel and some of these, movers and shakers, which I don't like personally. But he was the better of, in my opinion, of the three that seemed to be seriously being considered for Trump's VP, Marco Rubio and Tim Scott and himself. Out of those three, I would have preferred J.D. Vance. That's just my personal preference. But we've had multiple kind of prominent Republicans / libertarians come out and actually, in support. They came out in support of J.D. Vance, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones. Who else? Who else was it? There was another one that really came out. Oh, Elon Musk. I guess Elon Musk isn't necessarily is he a Republican? I don't think he's even a Republican. But this is kind of making people a little bit more accepting of J.D. Vance. Like I said, wasn't sure about the guy, but he was the best of those three potential picks. But this was Tucker Carlson finding out about J.D. Vance being chosen as the Republican or as Trump's vice presidential nominee. Listen.
So now J.D. Vance is the VP pick, and I think every person who pays close attention has got to be thrilled by that. And if you don't know much about J.D. Vance, I'm not even going to make a case for J.D. Vance. I'm going to tell you what I just saw, which is that every bad person I've ever met in a lifetime in Washington was aligned against J.D. Vance. And I do think the negative case is often more powerful because I know of myself, I do not think I'm a particularly good person. I have strong reasons for feeling that way. I don't always think that my side is right. I know for a fact I have been wrong many, many times. And I hope to correct and be honest about my error. So it's not like I think that, I'm always, God's always on my side. Sometimes I'm not on God's side. But I definitely know who's representing the other side. It's a lot easier to tell who the people who are only in it because they like, killing other people in pointless wars. Like, I know who those people are. And their odor is so powerful that I can smell one when he walks in the room. And every single one of those people in a line that would extend from Milwaukee to Chicago was lined up over the last week to knife J.D. Vance. Not on personal grounds. He's a perfectly nice guy. He's like one of the only members of the Senate with a happy marriage. True. But because they thought he would be harder to manipulate and slightly less enthusiastic about killing people. That's it. That he would be an impediment to their exercising power. And boy, they went after him in a way I've just kind of never seen. Which I think happens every day in Washington. I just don't have a vantage on it because I'm far, far away and grateful to be.
So he makes a good point. And this is actually true. I've seen multiple media attacks on J.D. Vance. And these attacks are reminiscent to the Trump attacks. And some of them even call J.D. Vance worse. I think I saw one on MSNBC or something like that that said that J.D. Vance was a worse virus than Donald Trump, or who was it? I think it was Joy Reid who said J.D. Vance is worse than Trump because Trump, that's just, she kind of, I forgot the word she used, but she said Trump, that's just kind of how he is. That's just Trump acting instinctively. But she says J.D. Vance is ideological and he can package it up and sell it to these institutions, to Silicon Valley. And, that's actually a pretty good point. But, of course, I like what is being sold. I like conservatism. I like America Firstism. So if we got a guy in there that can package that up in a nice, shiny package and sell it to these institutions, all right, okay, consider me on board. And let me tell you, J.D. Vance, he does have a way of talking because here in a second, I'll show you where he has responded to the negative comments or to the things he has said in the past about Donald Trump. And when I say he does a good job, guys, I used to be a salesman. All right. I used to be in sales in the past. And this guy, he has a silver tongue. Let me tell you, he has a silver tongue. But before we get to that one, this is JD Vance, who talks about the attempt on Donald Trump's life at the RNC.
Let's talk about when the shooting occurred this weekend. What was going through your head? And now we have some perspective. I thought the people around him on the stage, Secret Service, I've gotten to know the Secret Service guys over the years doing this job, and I have found them to be amazing people. They're willing to sacrifice their lives for you or for the president or for any elected official they may be assigned to. They were phenomenal. And then we found out, how is it possible just a mere 130 yards away? You know, they talk about a perimeter. It was outside the perimeter. No, the perimeter would be shooting range for any assassin. And a guy was able to get on a roof, unnoticed apparently, except by people in the crowd trying to warn law enforcement. To me, a massive failure. What is your reaction to it?
Well, look, Sean, it's scary. I was actually playing mini golf with my kids when people started to text me and I realized the president had been shot. Of course, I didn't know what his condition was. My first reaction was just to pray for him. You know, I was terrified. If President Trump had been killed, of course, terrible, 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 but the reverberations in the country, it would have been a world historic tragedy. Thank God he was okay. I don't know enough about the security protocols, but I was a United States Marine, and 150 yards is not nearly enough of a security perimeter. It's a layup.
Anybody that has any skill at all.
With any skill at shooting, it's amazing, Sean, frankly, that he wasn't hurt much, much worse. So I think there needs to be a full-scale investigation. We need to understand what happened, because clearly mistakes were made. I mean, look, the Secret Service ran up there, they put their bodies over him, they reacted quickly. That's not what worries me. What worries me is, why was there a shooter 150 yards from the President of the United States? It doesn't make an ounce of sense, but we need to understand why. Because look, Sean, you know this, a lot of Americans are extremely worried about President Trump, rightfully so, and they're very skeptical of the official narrative on anything. The way to solve that is to get to the bottom of this, understand what happened, and fix it so it doesn't happen again.
All right, let's talk.
Yeah, asking all the right questions right there. Saying right at the end there, the American people are very skeptical of these institutions, the intelligence community. They just came out and said, well, first they said they couldn't get into his phone, and then they said they got into his phone, but they didn't find anything. You know, they didn't find anything about the attack or anything like that. But everyone's very skeptical. Like, how does this happen? I mean, there are videos all over this rally, and you see, I'll show you one here in a second, where you see the guy, he's literally crawling up the roof. This is, 3-4 minutes before any of the shooting happened. Crawling up the roof. And people are pointing, hey, look at what's going on here. And nothing is going on. Nothing is happening. So, I mean, to talk to JD Vance's point there about being skeptical, that's why. That is why. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But here is JD Vance talking about, he speaks about negative comments he has made about Trump in the past. And like I said, this guy, he's good. He's good. If there was remarks he can make that could really make someone feel better about a JD Vance vice presidency, he knocked it out of the park. Listen.
You know, I had an opportunity to talk to Donald Trump, and I knew this question would come up actually for almost every person that was under consideration. Sure. And that was past comments that you had made about him. And when I'll tell you after what his response was, but sure. you didn't have the nicest things to say about him back in 2016, which seems like a long time ago now. You know, you literally said, you texted a friend that Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, and that he's America's Hitler. And you compared him to a cultural heroine in the Atlantic Monthly. And I'll tell you Trump's response, but you said that then. What do you say to people that say, well, wait a minute. What did he mean?
Well, Sean, I don't hide from that. I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans because, again, he delivered that peace and prosperity. If you go back to what I thought in 2016, another thing that was going on, Sean, is I bought into the media's lies and distortions. I bought into this idea that somehow he was going to be so different, a terrible threat to democracy. It was a joke. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to throw his political opposition in jail. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to undermine American law and order. President Trump did a really good job. And I actually think it's a good thing when you see somebody, you were wrong about him, you ought to admit the mistake and admit that you were wrong.
When I brought it up to him, he said...
I can't wait for this.
Okay, when I brought it up to him, he said, yeah, he goes, but he doesn't think that way now, does he? So he actually had a very good sense of humor about it. It also says a lot about him, and he understands. Were you as political back then?
Not really, Sean. I mean, my book came out in 2016, Hillbilly Elegy. It's really sort of the story of...
So then he goes on and talk about his book, but I mean, what a brilliant response by J.D. Vance. He takes responsibility. He says, yeah, I said these things. He said, I did. But then he attributes his mind change or his 180. He attributed it to Donald Trump. He attributed it to Trump. Why can't I say attributes? Okay, there, I said it right that time. He attributes it to Trump. So he takes responsibility. He attributes it to Trump. And he says that also a lot of other anti-Trumpers, a lot of other people who are against Trump are doing the same thing. I mean, I don't care who you are. That is a brilliant response by J.D. Vance. So hopefully J.D. isn't another Pence, but we shall see. I know he's definitely got he's definitely more articulate than Mike Pence is, but we'll see how much of an effect he has on Donald Trump's administration. RFK leaks a conversation. Well, he didn't leak it. It must have been his videographer. Conversation he had with Donald Trump after Donald Trump's failed assassination attempt. And RFK Jr., very embarrassed about this, he says. This is tweeted out by Colin Rugg. He says, RFK Jr. apologizes after footage was released of his conversation with Donald Trump. In the footage, Trump describes how the bullet felt ripping through his ear and talked about his call with Biden. And then it goes into some quotes. But let's just listen to the video here, guys. Let's see. Tell me if you think Trump is the same Trump in private versus in public. This sounds just like Trump, no different than any video I've ever seen of him, basically. Listen.
I would love you to do so. And I think it'll be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win. You know, we're way ahead of the guy. And, you know, he's interesting. It was very nice, actually. He called me. And he
Here, I will. Let me redo it. Let me rewind it. I just boosted the volume a little bit. So here we go.
I would love you to do so. And I think it'll be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win. You know, we're way ahead of the guy. And, you know, he's interesting. It was very nice, actually. He called me. And he said, how did you choose to move to the right? Just, you know, so I guess that's, people say, you know, if I was looking straight up, right? He said, I said, I was just showing a chart. I didn't have to tell him the chart was on all the people pouring into our country, right? But no, I just turned my head to show the chart. And something wrapped me. It felt like a giant, like the world's largest mosquito. And it was a bullet going around. You know, what did they call that, an AR-15 or something? That was a big gun. Those are pretty tough guns, right?
So that was a conversation. It felt like it felt like the world's largest mosquito. That is such a Trumpism right there. The world's largest mosquito. But it turned out it was a bullet or an AR-15 or something. That's a pretty good big gun, right? But that was supposed to, I guess, be a private conversation that was being videoed. by a in-house videographer. This is the statement that RFK released after this video was leaked. He says, when President Trump called me, I was taping with an in-house videographer. I should have ordered the videographer to stop recording immediately. I am mortified this was posted. I apologize to the president. But I'm sure Donald Trump will forgive him. But it just kind of goes to show that Trump is Trump in private or in public, because it sounds just like Donald Trump. You know, a lot of these politicians, they put on a public face and a private face. I think everyone does to a certain degree. Just what level? Really seems like the left, they're like a completely different person behind closed doors. And I think James O'Keefe is one who really exposes this more than anybody. You know, they have a public face. They say one thing. They act one way. Then behind closed doors, it's like, wait, who is this person? And that's pretty much James O'Keefe's, who formerly of Project Veritas, it was pretty much his whole shtick, was exposing that. Not only the lies that are being told by the leftist media, these leftist politicians, but also they're living a double life entirely. So, but big news, guys. Elon Musk, we found out how much money he is paying to Donald Trump every month. And it is a lot of money. It is a lot more than my $100 a month Verizon phone bill. Let me tell you, I thought that was a lot of money. But no. Musk plans to donate $45 million a month to Super PAC backing Trump. $45 million a month. Yes. Monthly installments. Monthly payments. This was after fully endorsing the candidate following the assassination attempt. So, Elon Musk plans to donate about $45 million per month to a new political group backing ex-President Donald Trump. So, you can't donate directly to the candidate, to Donald Trump, because, you know, there's caps. There are caps on donating directly to a campaign. I think, what is it, $2,800, something like that. So he has to donate to a super PAC or a PAC, which is virtually unlimited how much you can donate to the PACs. So, of course, he's going to go with that option to really try to make a difference. The Tesla boss who fully endorsed Trump in the wake of the weekend assassination attempt is one of several tech moguls contributing to America PAC, to the America PAC. So that is the PAC, I guess, that he is donating to. The group is reportedly focused on rallying support for Trump in swing states to counter ground covered by the Democrats through get out the vote campaigns. Other backers include Palantir Technologies. So that's Peter Thiel. Co-founder Joe Lonsdale, the Winklevoss twins, former U.S. ambassador to Canada Kelly Craft and her husband Joe Craft, the executive of coal producer Alliance Resource Partners. America PAC was formed in Austin, Texas. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. In May, where Musk's electric car company Tesla is headquartered. Yes, now it is headquartered in Austin, Texas. This was following that whole situation that happened in Delaware, where they tried to strip Elon Musk of many billions of dollars after one shareholder that barely held any shares sued him. And a judge in Delaware legitimized the lawsuit, even though it was completely BS. So Musk was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and headquarter in Texas because this doesn't make any sense. But let's go back to the RNC for a little bit. Reporter Savannah Hernandez. This is a good one. This is an entertaining one, guys. You're going to want to watch this. Confronts Kristen Welker. This is a, what is that? That's the Meet the Press reporter, correct? Meet the Press, Kristen Welker. I believe that's her. But she confronts Kristen Welker over her faulty reporting of the Trump assassination attempt. Let's not forget that part. So watch this. Savannah Hernandez doing the Lord's work, calling out these just disgusting reporters to their faces. Watch.
Excuse me, Kristen, I have a question. NBC reported that when Trump was assassinated, attempted assassination, it was popping noises that was initially reported. Would you like to respond to that? No? Yep. All right, y'all, this is Savannah Hernandez, and this is actually Kristen Welkener right behind me of NBC News, the exact same network that reported after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
That's right. Call him out.
Kristen, would you like to say anything? No? Would anybody, a part of NBC, like to say anything about your faulty reporting? Not at all? Okay. So that's your mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen. And we have CNN here, we have MSNBC, we have NBC. So this week I'm really going to try to ask all of these media members what their response is to their networks and this faulty reporting. Excuse me, Chris?
Absolutely. Savannah Hernandez, killing it. She's great. I actually met her when I went to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, when Donald Trump got arrested and he had his mugshot taken in Fulton County. I met her. Fantastic reporter. She used to work for, I believe, Alex Jones, InfoWars as well. Now it looks like she's doing some stuff for Turning Point USA, but she is great. Great on-the-ground reporter. She has no fear when it comes to covering these things, and she definitely is not afraid to call out these individuals. So to their faces, they should be called out for the stuff that they do, for the way they try to propagandize the American people and bend reality to fit a narrative. It's truly disgusting, and it should be called out. But speaking of calling out reporters, Don Jr. gets into a little tiff with a MSDNC reporter and calls him a liar and a clown to his face. But like I said, it was well-deserved. Listen.
What is that change going to look like, Don? What practically your father as president, I think you would even say, was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor. They went after him in every which way possible. If the media actually starts being an honest broker, talking about the things that he did, the prosperity he brought, the peace deals that he signed around the world, rather than the disaster that we're living right now, I think you'd do everyone in the country a big favor.
I know immigration's important to him. I covered the family separation crisis closely. Will we continue to see policies like separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents?
You mean the Obama administration?
You know they didn't do that, sir.
Okay, sure.
Will there be a second family separation policy?
It's MSDNC, so I expect nothing less from you clowns. Even today, even 48 hours later, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait with your lies and with your nonsense. So just get out of here.
What does that change?
So they're already priming. That's so great. They're already priming the America for the family separation policy, which came from Obama. Already going after Donald Trump. They're going to give it a rest for at least one day. Like, you know, Donald Trump or Don Jr. said, well, you guys can't lay off the lies and the crazy rhetoric, the pure, outright, bold-faced lies for just one day. No? Okay. Just get out of here. I'm not dealing with you clowns. Get out of here. And then a little bit later, he went on the Benny Show where he talked about this encounter with this reporter.
You just nuked a MSNBC reporter from the floor of the convention. The convention hasn't even we've barely even gotten started.
Yeah, no,
I
walked onto the floor.
20 million views on get out of here.
Well, it was worse than that. They only played the 20-second clip of sort of the end of it, but I go out there. My brother and I, we're Tiffany. We're there. We're going to sort of throw my father over the delegate count in Florida. Right? Yes. We're throwing him over. Florida's going to do it with the 125 delegates, whatever it is, and we're doing. And this guy. So does this mean all the hate from Trump is coming back to Washington? I go. Was it hate from Trump or was it hate from you guys? Because you guys were the guys lying about Russia. You're the one that called half the country Nazis. You're the ones so maybe we responded, but you guys created that chaos. You guys were the ones sowing that discord. You've been proven wrong on all of these things, and you don't want any ownership of it. So the guy goes, I'm just trying to throw us over the delegate count. It has nothing to. And he goes, well, what about the 5,000 kids in cages? I go, you mean the Obama cages? And this guy lost his mind because he's a propagandist. He's a regime propagandist from MSDNC. And so I said that. I go, like, it was Obama cages. And he goes, no, it was. I go, like, you couldn't even wait 48 hours. My father was shot. Like, again, in a different time, in a different place, it's not a time a guy like me stays calm.
Yes.
And
yeah, we don't blame him. So that was Don Jr.'s reaction to the MSDNC reporter coming after him. But moving on, guys, this is a wild one. There is a man who walks around. It looks to be a beach in California. I'm not exactly sure if this is California or not, but it looks like California. I guess it could be Florida. I'm not really sure where this is, but that's not important. But he asks random people about Trump's assassination. And these people, they actually believe that Donald Trump staged the entire thing. This is a must-watch, guys. Check this out.
It's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? What do you think? Does it kind of depend on where you're standing, whether or not you agree with the assassination attempt or disagree with it?
I just don't see that being the truth, but that's I'd rather just not make any comment.
Really quick, what are you talking about the truth? What do you mean? Oh, you just don't believe it was an assassination attempt?
No. Please don't.
No.
We're so anti-Trump. I don't even want to.
Was it a bad thing, though? Was it a bad thing? Would you condemn it?
Oh, that he got shot at? Of course.
Yeah, right.
Of course, you don't do that.
Of course.
Yeah, that's really bad. No matter,
Oh, yes, I have to say this.
Staged, probably.
Staged? Yeah. Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged a fake assassination for support? Okay.
I thought we were the conspiracy theorists. That's a crazy one.
I haven't seen the news today. I'm not here for the news. I haven't seen.
How would that even be possible to stage?
It was fake?
Of course.
One person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened there?
Small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? That doesn't mean anything to Trump.
Wow.
Now, staged from whose side? Do you think Donald Trump staged it for attention?
Could be, or it could be the other side trying to make a scene or something. But I don't. The fact that they only got his ear and he would like sit up and said America. I don't. Come on.
Right.
It doesn't feel normal.
What is our evidence for suggesting that it was a fake assassination
I
attempt?
think that he walked away alive with perhaps a scratch on his ear.
Yeah, it grazed his ear.
Yeah. Of course, behind the scenes, that was all fabricated. Some noise. They put a little scratch on his ear, threw a little blood on his face.
Now, so you think that they planned from 130 yards away to shoot off the corner of his ear?
And they never shot off the corner of his ear. That was all done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Okay. So you just see it grazing his ear as maybe not, maybe not real. What about the people that died what about the father that died in the stand as well as the others that were critically injured?
I don't know. I can't tell, but to me it just looks like it was planned, and bless that guy's soul for dying for this cause. I'm so sorry for that person's family.
So you think, if we're thinking that that's a big thing to think, is that Donald Trump's administration faked an assassination, got people killed.
All right, so you guys get it. So those people, they actually think that Donald Trump staged the entire thing. But the best one was that one guy, that older gentleman, where he said, the guy asked him, he was like, well, so you think that from 150 yards out, they shot the tip of his ear off? That's what you think? Oh, no, that was all done when he, dove to the ground. He put fake blood on his ear. And how would that even work? There's literally cameras all over the place. That would be that'd be a serious production right there. There's people behind him, the cameras literally all around him. Everyone has their phones out. But apparently it was done in a split second when the Secret Service jumped on him. Apparently. Because when he says the people around him did it, those are really the only ones that were around him. There was a Secret Service who jumped on him and surrounded him, which is their job. So I guess that's suspicious when the Secret Service does their job. I just don't see how that is even possible. It's hilarious. So the Democrats, you know, let's just call them the Blue Anon, right? The conspiracy theorists, I guess the Republicans can pass the torch, or they can pass the tinfoil hat to the Democrats. So where they can wear it proudly, because that is the conspiracy theory of conspiracy theories right there, that Donald Trump staged the shooting, the assassination attempt, and also sacrificed one of his supporters, rally goers, in the process. Absolutely incredible. But speaking of the assassination attempt, this is a video I just found the other day. I think it's been floating around for a couple days. But this is a video of Matthew Crooks being noticed by people surrounding the rally several minutes before anything actually happened. Let me bring this full screen right here. And you can literally see Matthew Crooks. Might be kind of a little bit of a blurry video, but you can see him. He's on the edge of the building, crawling up the roof. And this is far before he got to the peak where he can actually do anything. This is several minutes before. And people are already yelling at the police, hey, look, there's a guy up there. There's a guy up there. Listen.
There he is right there. Right there, see him?
Yeah, he's right there. That's him. He's looks like he probably just got on the roof just a little bit ago. And there he is. And watch, you can see him. He starts crawling up. This is many minutes before. Wait, he pans back around.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Yeah, there he is. Look at. Look, he's literally he's crawling up the roof. That's him. What?
We have criminals.
That's so crazy.
We have people that should not be here. On the roof. It's much tougher.
They're literally yelling for law enforcement. What in the heck is going on here? So this was several minutes before anything happened. They're yelling for law enforcement. He's not even at the tip of the building. This is what causes people to really be suspicious of this incident. Things like this. I mean, I would have probably been suspicious of it anyways, because I think being a cynic and being suspicious and, you know, thinking things from every angle, I think that's important for anyone to do. But this really kind of raises it to a different level. You have some rally goer taking videos, and it shows the guy several minutes before anything happened. Right there. It was a lot of people in the audience or in the surrounding areas saw him yelling, "Hey, look, he's right there." This is going on, like trying to show law enforcement this suspicious looking character climbing up a roof, and no one even notified Trump. No one tried to get Trump to safety. Pretty odd. Another person who thinks it is odd and who is raising questions about the Trump assassination attempt. And he kind of seems to be in the same boat as the rest of us, where we're left kind of scratching our heads at a situation that just seems too incredibly suspicious, or so incredibly suspicious that one could easily speculate that it was intentional. Listen, this is Tucker Carlson talking about the situation, and he kind of puts it in a very, very good way, kind of what we all are thinking.
You know, at some point we may find out what happened on Saturday. A guy with a rifle wound up on a building, you know, that close with a ladder, and all these people saw it, and the Secret Service are like, what is that? You know, it's not crazy to think that there was something there. it was an effort to kill Trump, and it wasn't just a lone gunman who was killed, that it was something else. But I don't think going forward, look, I think everyone has kind of accepted the fact that Trump's going to win, and it would be too hard to stop him from winning. This is just my gut as of today, and Kamala Harris, like, that's not going to work. You know, at some point we may find out.
So he's got questions just like all of us do. And, you know, Tucker Carlson, he's always coming with the questions and the speculation, which is one of the reasons why I really like Tucker Carlson a lot. The last thing we're going to talk about, guys, is the Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheadle. A lot of congressmen and women are calling for her to resign because of this dire display of incompetence that happened at this Trump rally. You know, why should you let your leader stay in charge when this happens? Because that's a huge mess up. That is a massive mess up. Because that area, that perch, if you will, I don't think it takes a security expert to know that that should be something that is covered. And this is kind of what makes the gears turn in people's heads. Like, this is basic stuff. Anyone, it's intuitive. This is only a few hundred feet away. I mean, anyone would know that is a security risk. Why wasn't someone on it? And she is the head of the Secret Service. She should be the one that is held responsible. But of course, Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheadle, diversity hire here, says that she will not resign.
There are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
You plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
Of course, defiant. This is a Biden nominee, Kimberly Cheadle. But last thing we're going to go through, guys, is just exactly who is Kimberly Cheadle. This is an article by Breitbart. Who is Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheadle? So let's take a little look into who this woman is. President Biden's Secret Service chief is facing a House hearing next Monday following her failure to prevent a sniper from shooting at President Donald Trump. Kimberly Cheadle has a lot to answer for, Mike Johnson told Fox News radio host. Cheadle spent 27 years at Secret Service before retiring in 2019 under President Donald Trump. She was hired as head of security for PepsiCo North America and worked there for 14 months. She was hired back to run the agency by Biden in August of 2022. A White House statement from Biden said, "Jill and I know firsthand Kim's commitment to her job. When Kim served on my security detail when I was vice president, we came to trust her judgment and counsel. She was a distinguished law enforcement professional with exceptional leadership skills, blah, 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 blah." The statement described her career, noting prior to serving as assistant director, Cheadle served as the special agent in charge of the Atlanta field office, providing oversight for all mission-related investigations. Her LinkedIn account says she took a sociology degree from Eastern Illinois University in 1992. The Secret Service is part of the Department of Homeland Security, so her immediate boss is Biden's impeached progressive pro-migration border chief, Alejandro Mayorkas. And this is the guy who I have big suspicions is somehow connected to the cartels. Like, there's no way. This guy is connected. That's my theory. I believe he's connected in some way. I 100% believe this. It's crazy. So he is directly above Kimberly Cheadle. That's her boss, Alejandro Mayorkas. The security of the presidential candidates is one of our most vital priorities, Mayorkas said at an 8:43 p.m. tweet after the assassination attempt. Cheadle is now facing criticism for prioritizing the progressive goal of diversity over the traditional goal of merit. Yeah, why would you prioritize? If you're looking after someone's life, that's your job, why would you prioritize diversity? That's to watch over someone's life arguably is one of the most important jobs. That's one of the most important things that you should prioritize merit over anything else, because one slip up, one mess up, and you could end up, deceased. Someone could end up dead. So the goal, for example, justified the hiring and promotion of women over men more capable to execute the agency's task. So this is a graph here. The Secret Service elevated diversity. Let's go to this tweet. To one of its top 3 vision priorities in its 2023 through 2027 strategic plan. This guy goes, "This isn't the post office. The Secret Service should be an elite institution whose sole criterion is excellence." So let's look at this. Let's look at this picture. Yes. So champion diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. So that is what the Secret Service was championing. So very interesting. We have another institution that falls victim to this DEI stuff. And it's an institution where it could become very obvious really quick, the effects of it. So it's very interesting. In early July, ABC News asked Cheadle about threats, and she replied, "There's nothing specific and nothing credible out there right now." Stephanopoulos, this is the interview. "Are there any specific and credible threats out there right now?" Cheadle says, "So there's nothing specific and nothing credible." This was just 1 week ago on ABC News this week. So we are looking forward to that testimony. I will most likely be live streaming that testimony. Kimberly Cheadle testifying before the House of Representatives. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. That is the show. How are you guys doing? What's going on out there? How's everyone doing in the chat? Let me get everything situated here. Hey, we've got a super chat from D. James ZW. He says, "How come the water tower had no security?" There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions on what happened. A lot of people are wondering, where was the security? What's going on? Why? It really seemed that either this is pure incompetence, which I'm not gonna dismiss the idea that there could be a lot of incompetence here, but it's such insane incompetence that it almost feels intentional. That's the thing. There's a speculation. There's a justification for speculating whether it's intentional or not, right? And that's what, one side in particular wants to basically shame out of existence. Oh, that's a ridiculous thing to think. That's crazy. Mayorkas says that it's dangerous to think this way. But come on, you're telling me that individuals whose entire job is to protect the president or to protect other individuals, important people, they weren't able to find this guy or see this guy, especially after he was being pointed out for several minutes. You're telling me that with my own eyes and my own thinking, I can't question that? Like, you're an agency that gets $3.2 billion a year from the taxpayer. This is your entire job. You're telling us that your standards have fallen that much, even though I believe that these institutions are being affected by this DEI stuff. I have a hard time believing it's being affected that much. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm giving too much credit. Who knows? But we've got Michelle C. in the chat doing a fantastic job, as always, modding. She says that building is a glass company. Is that what it was? I'm not exactly sure. Got Joey Kirkland in the chat. Hey, thanks a lot, Joey. Hey, Andrew, love your show. I wish I could support you monetarily, but I do support you by liking and sharing your channel and content. Hey, thank you very much. If you don't support the show monetarily, yeah, at least throw me a like. That really helps me out a lot, guys. That really helps me out a lot. Also, I mean, considering my other channel that I was doing with George, Firebrand Media, that just got shut down. So by YouTube. So that was a little bit of a hit, but we'll try to keep plugging away. Teresa says, I truly believe that this was divine intervention. You're right. You know, there was just so many things that aligned just perfectly. Trump looking at the chart at that exact moment. There was a slight breeze. And, you know, it seems unfathomable to think that all those things just aligned just perfectly. It had to have been some sort of divine intervention. Jeremy Brummer, another one of my great mods, just made it back. Hey, welcome back, Jeremy. Thank you. Michelle says, Andrew, it was bought by Raytheon back in March. Oh, I did not know that. Interesting. I have to check that out. Thorny says, God didn't save Trump according to news sources. Yeah. If the news could get away with it, they can't. They would say that this was staged, just like those Democrats could. But they can't do that because that's just too far for them. So they have to settle for just, you know, minimizing it. Teresa with the super chat. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. She says, I appreciate your work, Andrew. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Much appreciated. Dances with Aardvark says, a butterfly flapped its wings in China. I call it China. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is the show for the day. Thank you for watching. If you could, please, before we get off of here, smash that like button, tap it, sniff it like Joe Biden. I don't care how you do it. If you could, share the show. That helps me out a lot as well. And if you would like to support the show, consider becoming a member where you can be a part of a ultra secret chat. I have the link posted in the membership area. But ladies and gentlemen, have a good day, and we will see you on the next one. God bless.